I was so excited yesterday. I got some pictures of Oscar and Owen. They are my sweethearts. They're going to come, oh, look at this one. Isn't that too cute? Their little shirt says, "Little Mr. Steal Your Heart," and they stole mine way back. But they're coming to spend the weekend with me. And we always try to read some books or tell some stories. So I was looking yesterday for a fairy tale because I thought they'd really like that. Well, I got to noticing that in the fairy tales, the wolf is always the bad guy. And this is one of Oscar's favorite toys. And this just can't possibly be a bad guy. So I got to thinking, well, Little Red Riding Hood has got the wolf that wants to eat everybody. And the Three Little Pigs has the wolf that wants to blow the houses down. So I kept trying to remember a story that my grandmother told me about wolves. And I think I've got it right. She told me a story about a little wolf that really wanted to be good. He was born in the woods and he had a bunch of brothers and sisters. And they would play and play. They played kick the acorn and tag and wrestling. But then they all got a little bit older and his brothers and sisters all moved to different parts of the woods. So the little wolf would play and play, but he was by himself and he was so lonely. He really wanted a friend. But the rabbits and the squirrels and even the old hissy possum wouldn't play with him because everybody knows wolves are bad. Well, the little wolf said, "I can learn to be good." And he really was trying to be good. One day he was walking through the woods and he saw a little girl. She was so cute and she looked so delicious and he could just eat her up. And then he said, "No, no, no, no. I can get a meal anytime, but I really need a friend." So he went up to the little girl and he was as nice and he didn't growl or bark. And she looked at him and just smiled this pretty smile. She said, "Do you live in these woods?" And the little wolf said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, I've come to have a picnic with my dollies. Would you like to join us?" Oh, little wolf's heart just about burst. He said, "Yes." So she got her backpack and opened it up, got out a little blanket and spread it on the ground. And then she got out some cookies. And she opened the package and handed them to the little wolf. Well, he snatched them all up, grabbed every cookie, just stuffed them in his mouth, swallowed every one of them. And the little girl was like, "Well, he's kind of rude, but I don't know much about wolves. Maybe that's how they do it." So she got her drink, and she had two little glasses. But before she could pour, he snatched the bottle, glug, 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 drank every bit of the drink. The little girl wasn't too sure how this was going to work out. So she said, "Do you want to play dollies with me?" And the wolf said, "No, I want to play tag and kick the pine cone and wrestle. I want to wrestle." Well, the little girl said, "No, I don't wrestle. I'm a little girl and I have a little dress on and my mama just braided my hair. You go over and you play wolf games over there." So the little wolf went over to a different part of the woods and he played a little bit, but you can't wrestle by yourself and you can't play tag by yourself. But he kicked a pine cone around, but he kept looking at the little girl. She was sitting on the blanket, had her dolls out, was just having a good time. And then The owl that lives up in the tree looked down on the wolf and said, who was not very nice? Who needs to learn to be good? Well, the wolf knew that the owl was right. So he hung his head and he tucked his tail and he went over by the little girl and sat down really nice. And she looked at him and said, would you like to play dolls with me? And the little wolf said, yes, I'm so sorry for how I acted. I'm trying to be good. And the little girl said, oh, I know, it's hard sometimes. You have to learn to share, and you have to learn to take turns, and you have to play games that maybe you don't always want to play. But you can learn to do it because you're a very nice wolf. They played all afternoon. She had dolls, and she had some jacks, and she had a little ball that they could roll. When it started getting dark, she said, I have to go home. The wolf helped her pack up the clothes, they packed up the blanket, and he walked her all the way to the edge of the woods. The little girl said, I am so glad we met. I'll come back tomorrow and we'll play again. Maybe you can teach me how to play kick the pine cone. The wolf was so happy. He had made a friend. But what he didn't know is the owl had watched all of this, and he was going through the woods telling the rabbits and the squirrel and even the old hissy possum, who learned to be good today? Who might learn to be a friend?